Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone to FPL Jedi Show. This is Gameweek 7 Deadline stream. My name is Hafiz and I would like to welcome my co-host Azmin to the stream. How's our feeling coming to this Gameweek 7 streaming?
Well, I guess I'm just happy that I finally got my first green arrow last week, so I'm very happy. So it's getting a bit fast, but of course, it came after I finally wildcarded, realizing that I just couldn't keep with the squad anymore. I gave them enough chances, and the problem was quite a few of them had starting issues as well. Yeah. So and then when Ahmad suddenly had to withdraw due to a personal matter, they thought that was it. Let's move on. So yep, very happy.
Right.
Looking forward.
All right. Just to inform everyone that I've also decided to wildcard last week. So both of us actually wildcarded, despite whatever circumstances that we decided in terms of our players. Okay, but in the end, I had my thoughts whether to wildcard or not. I decided that. Finally, because I might need to take a hit to kind of like bring in those Haaland and Bruno Fernandes who produce -1 points. Later we touch on that. And after that, I've decided, do I need to take -4 again after I took -4 two weeks back? So I decided, why not get the players that I wanted. We already identified the players that has potential in terms of defensive contribution and so on. I could go cheap in defense and put my money up front. So then after that, I decided to wildcard 2 main. So pretty much that what happened last week. And then we move on to Gameweek 7, and then this will be the last week before the second international break of the season.
Yeah, so annoying. I prefer to have some momentum, if but that's normal. It's not like it's different than other seasons. But yeah, it's just got to deal with it.
Right. So this day, let's say we walk through all the team news and press for all managers who I think we already captured all except one. But most important things that the Gameweek 7 fixture will have both of our team play each other. Chelsea versus Liverpool, who in terms of Premier League, we both had a loss last week. Chelsea lost to Brighton. For yourself, lost to Crystal Palace, and now Palace is the only side who are unbeaten in the league.
Yeah, it's fun. It's funny how these things pan out. With Arsenal have already lost and City have already lost as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how everything stacks up.
All right, we take a look at the Gameweek 7 fixture this week. This will be Friday deadline. It's because there will be a match tonight, 3 a.m. Malaysian time, Bournemouth versus Fulham. As we can know, Bournemouth are on rise right now. They are high flying, but Fulham lost to Aston Villa. Finally, Aston Villa break the duck in terms of winning and getting 3 points for their team. So they play each other tonight. And then what will happen on Saturday, we have early kickoff where Leeds will entertain Spurs coming to their town, Ellen Road, and then we have Arsenal facing, can I say, rejuvenated West Ham after the appointment of Nuno Espirito. When we streamed last week, at that juncture, Potter still the manager for West Ham, but it's not the case now. Nuno is the new head coach for West Ham. So I still remember last season, Arsenal play West Ham, West Ham win 1-0, but that is actually Potter time where Jared Bowen scored that goal. But this time around, we are not sure. Arsenal should be on form. They played against a more organized team. We do know is is the new head coach. Then United versus Sunderland, I think pretty much this is also an interesting game for Manchester United team. They lost a game last week against Brentford, 3-1, and then they could be under pressure against a decent Sunderland side who had a good outing last week, winning 1-0 away to Nottingham Forest. And then Chelsea versus Liverpool is the heavyweight match for this week. We played each other at Stamford Bridge midnight Saturday. Before on Sunday, there are plenty of matches because the European competition happened this week. So that's why Villa versus Burnley. That will be the money ball game that people are looking at. We have Everton versus very good side Crystal Palace right now, unbeaten. We have Newcastle who also looking at a win at now against Forest, who lost again in Europa League. So suddenly Postecoglou under fire despite early run in terms of managing Forest. And then we have Wolves versus Brighton before we close off with the match against Bradford against Man City, who are on fire right now, at least for Mr. Erling Haaland. So which fixture are you looking forward to?
There's quite interesting fixtures actually. So when I look at all the things, there's nothing really straightforward except for the fact that Aston Villa are going against Burnley, and just as everyone has dumped their Villa assets, they finally turned a corner. So not only did they win against Fulham last weekend, but they also secured a win against Feyenoord in midweek in Europa, which was coached by Robin van Persie, if anyone remembers him. So that's a nice one there. So now the question is, Villa should be continuing. So those of us who haven't wildcarded or still have hung on to Watkins and finally scored, definitely you'll be wanting to keep him against Burnley, who are looking, starting to really vulnerable. The other ones, there isn't really anything really standing out at the moment, to be fair, except for possibly Newcastle versus Forest. Forest, unlike Aston Villa, Steve, there's no end in sight to them losing. I think Aston Villa themselves are probably, wondering what's going on with Forest, who, if you remember, beat them, to the spot previously, and now they're the ones who are floundering under the new coach. I can't, and I wish I could bring in a Newcastle player there because I can't see Forest troubles ending anytime soon.
I think Barnes scored during the Champions League match. So that was your player last time prior to that wildcard.
Yeah, you had to remind me, right? It's so annoying, but I mean, it is what it is. I just have to deal with it. And young players like Walter Mede, Gordon taking penalties.
Yeah,
making very interesting. Instead of Walter Mede, who people thought maybe they would take. So he could really be a good pick for this week for those who have transfers to burn.
All right, great stuff. So I think we can jump into the team news. We start off with Bournemouth versus Fulham. We are interested to know because there are plenty of transfer fee in terms of Bournemouth player. We'll touch on that later. But what's the latest news for both teams?
Yeah, no biggie with Bournemouth, with only Cook coming back and everyone else is fine. Now Fulham are a bit problematic because Muniz is definitely out, and probably we don't know after the international break, could be not so quickly either. And Raul Jimenez being assessed today in training, it does not bode well for Fulham after they lost to Villa, because if Jimenez doesn't turn up, then Fulham are effectively don't have any senior strikers, so they have to call on more backups. And it would look good for those of us who have Senesi. So Senesi could not only rack up yet another batch of DEFCONs, but also keep a clean sheet, which may make him, when I wildcarded, I went without him. I'm wondering whether that's a mistake right now. So let's see what happens. But for this game, I do expect Bournemouth to win. I think they just have momentum and Semenyo will continue his good run of form. Of course, in Fulham, people do have Anderson, another DEFCON monster. So yeah, I can see Bournemouth battering Fulham and Anderson doing a lot to try to stop Bournemouth from scoring, and Anderson will accumulate DEFCON again.
All right. I think if you watch that game Fulham against Villa, what happened is Raul Jimenez scored the first goal. Then after that, they celebrated. I think that during that celebration that he got injured. So that is a really funny one. So if he missed that one, he would definitely be pissed off in terms of money. But I still remember when he subbed out Adama Traore, who actually come in for Raul Jimenez. So if let's say he's out, probably he will be the one to lead the line alongside King as the number 10, but there will be missing Muniz and Raul Jimenez at the same time. It is really unfortunate, I can say, because most of the time they are fighting each other to get a place in the starting lineup.
It's not a bad idea you going with that guy for going up front, because he seems to be a good player, but maybe his positioning is an issue. I don't know. But yeah, we'll probably just still avoid picking up any more players from either of these two teams.
All right, good stuff. That Bournemouth versus Fulham. Clearly, that Bournemouth player that we are having right now, the likes of Semenyo, Senesi should be playing. No worries in terms of injury. Let's go to the next one, Leeds versus Spurs, because we also understand there are some managers who are also thinking about wildcarding this week. They might need to get some of these players, especially on the league side as an enabler. So they would interested to know what the managers have been saying, Danny Fakir or Thomas Frank, about their team, because Spurs did involve in the Champions League match during the midweek. Yeah. So what's the latest with me?
This could really be a banana skin for Spurs, actually. Leeds have been going well. Okay, sure, Daniel James is rolled out, Monto are not ready to return, and Perry, what we considered, so probably, Dalot, of course, will slot nicely in there. On the Spurs side, Romero's fit available. Now, the problem with Spurs, of course, they were involved in Europe as well, but it's so hard to pick. I think we talked about this previously. So hard to pick players from their side, and with even Porro getting benched, Johnson getting benched. So, although they may very well win this, but picking up players from Spurs is looking a bit of a minefield. And Thomas Frank has gone on the record in terms of saying he's learning to manage these players and not overdo their workload too much. So it's dangerous going. Yeah. So maybe people like Romero and Van der Ven are probably the safer options at this stage, or even the keeper. Yeah, because they are less likely to be rotated, but everyone else seems to be at risk of being rotated. So, in this, how do you see this match, Hafiz? Because I really think Leeds could.
Yeah, because if you remember last week, Leeds managed to salvage a draw against Bournemouth, or rather than, if I may say, Bournemouth last minute get that equalizer. If not, they lost against Leeds, which is interesting because Leeds, the likes of Leeds, likes of Sunderland, and maybe to an extent Burnley, who maybe the third team in terms of ranking right now from the promoter side. So Leeds could give trouble, and Spurs are finally also managed only to draw against Bordeaux, right, in the midweek, and then could easily lost because they lead 2-0 and then got comeback from that 2 goals down. So Spurs, if not being careful, Leeds might get something against this match. So
yeah, so I've seen a lot of comments by Spurs with fans, how the setup in the Champions League was so horrible. This Frank have no idea what he's doing, because is he not ready for the step up? But I just think that these are growing pains that he'll have to do. For one, just not. Remember we talked about how He's learning to manage, because at Brentford he didn't get a big squad. In Spurs he has more players to play with, so he's gonna try to figure out the best way to approach all competitions. And if you remember now also, because this year, if you remember last year, we started with the Champions League being the new format where home plays. So he needs to figure that out. So not saying that he's going to start really losing a lot from now on, just that we have to be careful in terms of picking Spurs players.
Yeah. So basically, I think the one thing that people are looking at about Richarlison option, because Solanke has doing some minor surgery, and I'm not sure how long they will be going out. And with Kolo Muani also still are not fit, Richardson could be an option up front, but he blanked last week. So I'm not sure whether you are thinking about him, but that could be an option up front. But Richardson is something that who else that can trouble him up front? You mentioned about Tel or
yes,
who can actually
so
some minutes. Right?
Yeah, it's still a problem there, because now, but of course, Thomas Frank, he's not burdened by having to pick up players that he specifically wanted to buy, that kind of thing. So he doesn't have that issue with players like Tel. But it does make it harder for us to pick them.
Right, it will be an interesting match. Leeds versus Spurs, the early kickoff on the Saturday lunchtime. All right. Next one will be Arsenal versus West Ham. We know, I think Arsenal, in terms of league table, are they on second place right now, if I'm right? So they're just 2 points behind Liverpool. And then they have some excellent form right now, because they also win last week against Newcastle. They are at home right now against West Ham. But what's the latest news for both teams?
It's a bit of a thing with Arteta being very non-committal when it comes to Gabriel. Of course, he says we want to constantly wait and see after training. To be fair, after the injury, we saw he didn't look that bad. He was able to just sit, so no further treatment. So he was watching the game. So the most are calling it that Gabriel will start, should not be an issue, and I think he probably will as well. I don't see a problem. The only problem is, of course, Arteta managing the schedule. He has gone on record saying they have to play Sunday, Wednesday, and Saturday, which leaves quite short. So do check in terms of the players who played midweek and decide. So players, and the main player at risk is Gyökeres, who started both games, and he's new to the league. Will he start? But of course, if he doesn't start, then what happens there? Who plays? Trossard plays at Palstan or something. So those are the things you have to worry about. The other thing you have to worry about for Arsenal is with regards to West Ham. So West Ham, they managed to secure a draw last time around, and which only conceding 1 goal starting to show some of the credentials, Nuno's credentials in terms of defense. And trust me, if there's a team that need to work on the defense, is West Ham at the moment. So in terms of injury news, we know that Bissaka will return to training, so he'll probably come in as well. Susek, final game of a 3-match ban. One thing we know is that there is a player in defense that he's familiar with, which is Max Kilman. So I'm sure he's going with him together to really make West Ham harder to beat again. We got Bowen resurgence. That's the thing with Bowen. Every now and then he scores, and we wonder why on earth are we not picking him? I'm sure there's a lot of people who there are, but I'm just thinking for myself and those who don't pick him. And when I look at this match, Bowen, is Arsenal that solid that Bowen can't score? I don't know. Bowen has scored against Arsenal before, so it's not an issue a few times. And that's the only problem, because I think people who are wildcarding, some are considering going all in on Arsenal as well. We got Gabriel and maybe Eze. or Gyökeres. You know, I've seen a draft with Gabriel, Saka, and Gyökeres, which feels like a lot of money on Arsenal. But I think it might be worth it. But I'm scared Gyökeres might not be able to sustain lah. That's the problem.
Okay. Right. I think interesting one because definitely if you're wildcarding this week, you're looking at this is the run fixture that Arsenal going to be a favorable one. You could go triple up, whether you double up in defense or double up in attackers is depend on your appetite. Okay, Raya and Gabriel, or you could go like Azmin mentioned, Saka and Gyökeres up front, which is really nice. You get the combo. And interestingly, West Ham. After that, then there'll be interest. The likes of the player that we have right now, Diop, who have produced assists last week, and potentially you mentioned about Bowen. If they say you are thinking whether this is the best to get those West Ham players, I can assure you after the international break, West Ham fixture are going to turn into a better one, and people are definitely looking at likes of Bowen, Diop, like you mentioned just now, because they are playing, I think, Brentford and so on. So that's really nice. And if let's say this match, I do still feel that Arsenal gonna get the win against West Ham, but it will be a tight one.
Yes. Yep, agreed. Yeah, so which means that I don't know, but of course, if you're wildcarding, going on all in Arsenal for the long term is okay. But if you're just making a transfer, then I wouldn't recommend doing triple up so fast. But yeah, let's see.
Yep. Right, next game, which is United versus Sunderland. United are becoming dire right now. Despite I'm having a United player, it could be a tricky match against Sunderland. On paper, you could imagine United going to win this because United did win against Burnley. But it's a close one, 3-2 if I'm right. And again, they needed that Bruno Fernandes penalty, something like that. But this Sunderland could be different animal than Burnley. So this will be a tricky one. I'm looking forward in terms of the team news, what you can share.
Yeah, problem is Man United, coming off that loss against Brentford, 3-1, which is very, very, it might be very demoralizing. And we thought Amorim would be off, but he's still there. Anyway, Diallo back in training, so he's fine. And I don't see any reason why he doesn't slot straight back in. The good thing on United, they have, only Martinez and Mazraoui are out. So, and Casemiro returning for some suspension should definitely help. On the Sunderland side, no biggie. My old player Ronaldo, another game 2 of a 3-match ban. So, but it's not really issue. Sunderland can operate without them and do well. You've got to wonder: is this a must-win for Amorim? His record looks really bad at the moment. It's a problem. I think it is, which is probably a reason when I wildcarded last week, I was thinking of this, the Brentford and Sunderland as players where Amorim's career might be in the balance, and that's why I picked up Mbeumo on my wildcard, simply because surely they're going to fight, because the record is just not just on the manager but on the players as well. So let's see how this goes, and I think this will be a draw.
Great. So are you saying if you have any Sunderland players, especially at the back, you will play them against United this week?
Because I still think Manchester United will score, just that it'll be a score draw. Yeah. The Isildur of Sunderland. Yeah, I think he's really going into that role. He's really secured that starting spot over Mayenke. So Isildur is an interesting option as well, cheap striker, especially if Sunderland are overperforming.
Yep. So Casemiro returns from suspension, and then Ronaldo on the other side serving his second match ban. So I think that's the different, but Sunderland would definitely have more than enough player to equip with replacing Ronaldo. There'll be interesting one. If United, I don't want to see this. Okay, I think they need a result against Sunderland just to make sure Amorim before the break. I thought it's like every single week now Amorim under pressure because of this. That's the situation.
No, yeah, I guess this whole formation dilemma thingy where he refuses to change formation, which to me just, how can a manager be so inflexible? You need to be able to adjust. So he's trying hard to make it work. So let's see if it clicks this weekend.
I really hope we have Manchester United players, right? Just reward us with some points intentionally, and then I don't know. After the international break, we might need to rethink about Manchester United players. All right, let's go to the next one, which is our team in Chelsea versus Liverpool. We both are desperate for points, right? And Chelsea, in terms of, I can see Enzo did mention about we are missing a lot of players. So I think Liverpool also have some issues. So share the latest news.
Yeah, so he just said 8 players unavailable, and when you count them all out, it does look like quite a bit. There's at least 3, 4 centre backs there gone. Colwill, Fofana, Tosin, and now Shalova, who's suspended. And so the Pedro issue, because during the midweek they were saying that my scout was saying that Pedro is carrying an issue, so he's been managing the issue. So I guess he should be fine for this game. On the LFC side, Alisson, who got injured and making Mama Dashi, I can't remember the goalkeepers.
Yes.
4.3 makes it very interesting option. So that's something to look at, especially if you're wildcarding, maybe you'll could consider that. So apparently Ekitike, he came off midweek, but he should be back. And Chisa trained today as well. But when you remember that Ekitike did start the match, midweek's match, before he got injured, so you would expect that Isaac will continue to start. To be fair, Isaac hasn't done much to say he deserves it yet, but there's no reason why he shouldn't start this week.
I think pretty much that will be the expectation. Against, I think Chelsea have to feel the
pressure.
Young player Akyongpong in the defense with the returning of Benoit Badiashile, because we do not have options. So we will play those players against Liverpool, Isaac. So if you offer me a draw right now, I'll take it.
I can't. With that centre back, of course, you got Caicedo, who will do a phenomenal job, and I can see him having, breaking the 12-point DEFCON threshold to get those 2 extra points, because he is going to work extra hard. Not to say that Liverpool's attack is much good. Remember, they did also, like Chelsea, they also lost midweek. Liverpool lost to Galatasaray. I don't know if you saw the match, Hafiz, but the every time Liverpool had the ball, the booing was insane. It just non-stop, all the way from the first minute all the way to the end. It was really noisy. And it was funny because every time the referee needed to check with his colleagues in the back, like VAR team or the linesman, you can see he was like, what? Struggling. What did you say? He had to get a repeat because it was just so noisy.
Hostile environment.
It's a very hostile environment. But to be fair, that's football. The players got to learn to deal with it. So they didn't, and lost whether or not that was a factor, we don't know. Salah was benched midweek, which was very unusual. We never saw because it's so unfamiliar. Usually for Champions League, you wouldn't see him not play. But I guess he does. Arne Slot started to acknowledge the fact that he may not be able to be 3 games in a row anymore, because he is getting older, and although he's kept fit really well, but still need to manage him and to prevent injury as well. So, prediction. What do you think, Hafiz? You said if you got a draw, you would take it, but what's your prediction?
I'll say 1-1.
I will say 2-2. Also a draw. It's just that both defenses aren't exactly settled, and I think even though Chelsea are missing Palmer in terms of their attack, but there's enough quality there to get the goals. Whereas on LFC's side, we have players who can score. That's not an
Yep,
issue.
definitely.
But our problem is still how much longer for us to integrate all the new players into a working system. It's still looking like a struggle at the moment. So if Isaac can get the monkey off his back and score this first goal for the Premier League for Liverpool, then that would be great.
Yep, you have him on your team right now.
Right. Yeah, that's right. So
Okay.
because okay, go ahead.
So if they say someone posted you a question,
Yeah.
someone who doesn't have Haaland and has the Salah in his team right now, what would your advice would be? Is it stay with Salah or is it time to move?
I mean, we don't not use Salah is really. I do feel there is an argument for him to stay, but if you're not gonna sell Salah for Haaland, you should find another way to get Haaland because Haaland is on fire. It's crazy to see, and he scored in Champions League as well. So if you can't sell Salah to get Haaland, you find some other way. But coming back to this LFC Chelsea club, I don't think Salah's at Haaland's level at the moment. Okay. So yeah, until Liverpool figure it out.
Right. Let's go to the next team news, which is Aston Villa Burnley. I think we do not have any pressure from Unai Emery unless you have the latest one. But maybe you could share what's the latest news for both teams because Scott Parker did mention no injury concerns.
Yeah. So on the Burnley side, no real changes. The reason we don't have any press conference for Aston Villa yet is because they just played last night against Feyenoord. So that's the thing. I think that if you look at the team news, we don't know yet, but on the Burnley side, if everything's else equal, it does feel like Aston Villa are going to continue the resurgence. So last weekend they won, midweek they won as well. So against Burnley, probably looking like about to joining Wolves in terms of currently being quite horrible at the moment, and Villa to chalk up another win.
All right. I think if you have Watkins, because I did mention Azmin last week, if I do not wildcard it, I will definitely have Watkins and Rogers, and which they finally returned last week. 8 points and I 5 points, I believe. And if they say they fit, I think they should play this game and they could return easily against Burnley, who can I say the whipping boys right now? I think that is the team that people will target because they are, in terms of goal conceded, XG considered, they are the highest in terms of potentially conceding goals. So that's Villa versus Burnley. Next one will be Everton versus Palace. I think this will be an interesting one. Yes, Palace are on form, but Everton are playing in front of their crowd, especially at Hill Dickinson right now. So what's the latest news?
Excuse me for yawning. Okay, so we know, as a person who has KDH as well, he's out. 5th yellow card in 6 games. That's like, remember who's that guy? Nicholas Jackson. Scoring goals but picking up yellows along the way. It's starting to feel the same way, although KDH, to be fair.
It's like if let's say you pick up 5 cards, it means that from that 6 game you consecutively get yellow cards, right?
Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? So other than that, the only other absentee, which is Brantwaite, but Everton seem to be managing without him. So on Crystal Palace side, looking good in general, just we don't know Will Hughes will be available. He's hopeful, that's what he says. Anyway, Nketiah, who did score against us. I'm sorry. Because Nketiah is the player I have a soft spot for. So for him to score against us, I feel very, very annoying. But the fact that halftime substitution, there's nothing to read here because Mateta is going to continue to start, and the fact that they managing his minutes in the Conference League means that they don't want him exhausted for this match, and definitely Mateta will start. So on the other side, Ndiaye. So there were comments from David Moyes about Ndiaye about maybe shifting him to the right and or shifting him to the left and as needs one. I don't like that. If I had Ndiaye as a player in my team, I don't like that chopping and changing from just to fit things. It's going to affect his rhythm. So not great there.
All right. In terms of prediction lineup from FPL Newcat, predicted that Akras will replace KDH as the number 10. So that's what the prediction would be. Grealish and Ndiaye on the left and right flank. And if let's say Will Hughes not available, the likes of Kamada, Wharton will anchor in the midfield for Crystal Palace. But their lineup pretty settled in terms of Mateta, Sa, and Jeremy, the newly signing.
Yeah, Jeremy Pino. So it's great. Yeah, Crystal Palace, who we thought would flounder a bit, but I thought would flounder a bit, but they've done remarkably well. And let's see whether they can. Well, to be fair, Everton did finally concede their first goal at the new home last week. Before, so let's see if Palace can do the same. I think they can.
Yeah. All right. This will not be bad. Well, if let's say people are thinking about Tarkowski, because last week they got him in wildcard, and if they say still concede, despite you're thinking about defensive contribution point, he costs you 5.5 million. So that's another thing. All right. Next team news, which is Newcastle versus Forest, as you mentioned. Newcastle on the better side than Forest right now. I think Postecoglou record so far only one draw, right, against Burnley, and the rest is loss. So he's also starting to under pressure. But what's the latest news mean for both teams?
Well, we ended up Forest, so I'll just start with Forest. So yeah, Murillo forced off again. It's not looking great for Postecoglou. In the CL match, the Spurs fans, the Forest fans were against him.
Okay.
They're the ones getting sacked in the morning and I don't think that Angie deserves the brunt of the criticism, but it's just because when Nuno was forced to leave, he left them in such a cool position, and people had loved Nuno, so they would have not liked anyone who came in. And the fact that he is doing terribly at the moment, it gives the fans another reason to continue to boo him, which kind of sucks, but I guess that's football again. So on the Newcastle side, Shah returns, so we're going to get Shah back in center midfield, most likely. Even maybe not, because maybe he can't play 2 games in a few days, but we'll see. We saw Ramsey sideline, Livramento up, so 8 weeks, and there have been questions, but Walter Mede and Andy Gordon have done well. Although there have been questions about whether Newcastle not playing with a 10 is hurting them, because before this game they were struggling in terms of scoring goals. But I think that, to be fair, Harvey Barnes was creating a lot in the time before this match, so before he started getting benched. So I don't think that number 10 is the issue here. But between these two, I really felt like, should I have brought in Gordon? Because I don't think Forest is going to recover anytime soon. It's looking really dire at the moment.
Interesting in terms of rated lineup for Newcastle, because I do not pay so much attention to Newcastle, but with Livramento out up to 8 weeks, so you can see the lineup where Burn will come in on the left side, Trippier on the right, Hall should come in. So if let's say that's the case, then maybe there'll be some shuffling in the middle centre back, because right now is Botman and Thiaw, which I'm not so familiar of, but this is the defense that Newcastle are playing right now.
Well, you could argue that Shah could come in.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So let's see there.
And then if you're thinking about upfront, the Ilanga, the Jacob Murphy, the Barnes will rotate, so there'll be concern in terms of minutes. So the only secure I can mention, like you mentioned, Gordon, or you want to go to the Walter Muddy options upfront, 7 million guy. He's been scoring, right? So, but he's still a Gordon will be on the penalty kick, which will be interesting. Next will be Wolves versus Brighton. Last week, Wolves finally got a draw, is it? I forgot.
Yes.
So, yeah. Yeah. So, at least they are off the mark, but they are facing Brighton, who are... They already defeated Chelsea at home 3-1. So, it'll be an interesting one. They are also already attention into some Brighton assets. So, this is something to look forward to. What's the latest news for Pereira and also Huzzler's side?
So these two managers, so Pereira, JSL will probably still start, but not play the match. We don't know. He's not. According to the press conference, that Jorgen he's not 100%. So I'm not sure whether or not that means he starts. But the fact that he's training with the team, I think that he'll probably start and get taken off early. They do need him as the focal point. On the other side, there's Brighton. So Brighton are just being Brighton. They're quite unpredictable. They'll just find that win. That, and then what was annoying, because especially for FPL, is that Welbeck coming in and scoring 2 goals. It's always a problem. And this one is against who they play? Chelsea. Yeah. So, it's so unpredictable that I wouldn't be surprised if Brighton lose this against Wolves. It's random. So this is, of course, it's not great, but it just, what I'm trying to say is just that when it comes to FPL, it's so hard to figure out Brighton with when they will return, because I don't think we expected him to return much against Chelsea, but sure, they did it anyway. So I wonder this week against Wolves, they'll I do think that if JSL starts, Wolves are going to find a way to beat Brighton.
Yep, I think this could be Wolves' first win against Brighton, despite Brighton has been good. Okay, a good team. Okay, but we know Wolves. Oh, now I recall Wolves almost got 3 points against Spurs last week until the last minute goal from Palinda or something like that.
Yes,
so
1-1.
Yeah.
So it does show that defensively there is some improvement. So let's see.
Right. Next will be, I think this will be the last team news. Brentford versus Man City. As we all know, a lot of attention in terms of Man City players, especially Erling Haaland. And he did play again in the Champions League maybe and scored 2 goals. So everyone kind of want him in your team. It's definitely. So, but they are facing Brentford, who are on good moral, because they pick up a 3-1 win, and the manager did mention they want to keep up the momentum to defeat another Manchester side. That will be a big ambition, but what's latest news, man?
Yeah, Brentford. I'm going to give credit to Brentford. A team that I totally underestimated at the start of the season. So anyway, so nothing really significant in terms of their lineup and their team news. Nielsen and Carvalho are going to be the players we pick for FPL anyway. On City, Rodri came back, but will he play this weekend, I guess, is the question. I think as long as he's okay, he'll probably play. Then Marmoush is still out, Altnuri, Krishanov, Cherki. It does seem that Haaland is enjoying not having Marmoush in the team. So even though they did draw 2-2 against Monaco, but Haaland still scored. So for this match, I wouldn't be surprised if Thiago scores again. He's just doing this, at home, and I'm just trying to figure out if do I want to do that, because I think Thiago could be a long-term good pick.
Wow.
So if you have any player that you are suffering, or you have had for a while and hasn't returned, I think going for Thiago is not a bad idea at all.
All right. Let me read out their fixture. This week against City. After the international break, they face West Ham away.
West Ham,
Liverpool. Yeah. Crystal Palace and Newcastle.
So I looked at that. Yeah. So Crystal Palace, are still undefeated, and Newcastle can have stubborn defenses. But I'm really liking Thiago, and if I had delayed my wild card, I might have considered putting him even against City. But City, they always find a way to concede. They seem to always find a way to concede. Last week, okay, my wild card had Donnarumma in it, thinking that they keep a clean sheet, but no, they still conceded against bloody Brentford. They still managed to concede, which is why I think last week before the match we were talking. I think I mentioned in our stream who's the guy an option again? Oh my god, I can't remember his name anymore. Manchester City defender, Gvardiol.
Okay.
So is he? I said he might be a pick to use while Agnur is out now, but City still find a way to concede, and against Brentford at home, they definitely will concede. It's just we don't know it's Thiago.
All right, we covered every single news. So particularly, I think there's not much of concern in terms of popularity. The players that everyone have right now should play this week. Maybe the one doubt that the committee are talking right now is about Gabriel. But I think they picture in training and he looks fine, right? I think that's what
I haven't seen the picture.
I think that's why people are thinking about Gabriel. If you're thinking whether he will play or not, I think you just play him this week. And then see if they say he did not turn up, your defender from the bench coming in. Because he will not come in if they say he's not starting. That's what I feel. Okay. Good stuff. Let's go to the transfer traffic for Gameweek 7. What is people are buying or selling this week? As you all know, the most transfer in this week, I think no surprise. People are still keeping up, getting Haaland into the team. He's already transferred in by more than 800,000 managers. This stats is captured at 10:15 p.m. Malaysian time, but he definitely pick up more new owners right now. Second one, Mr. Senesi from Broadband Defense. He already risen up to 4.9 or more, maybe. So he's definitely on the high side in terms of popularity. Or still 4.9 million. The third player most wanted is Gabriel after he scored last week, 13 points from him. Semenyo keep picking up new owners, 491,000 managers, and then Mark Gill from Crystal Palace because he assisted Nketiah goal. So people are looking at him right now. Cheaper than Lacroix, cheaper than Daniel Munoz. For sure. And most transfer out, I think is like for like, despite Haaland playing up front, Salah in midfield, but in terms of pricing, it's like for like. Mo Salah is the most transfer out. 600,000 managers has done that. João Pedro, would you be surprised with that? Take him out, blank again against Brighton. Red carded in midweek Champions League. I don't know whether that counts into people thinking, but that the traffic people are doing. Chris Wood continue to blank, and the minutes also uncertain with Jesus in the wings. So third transfer out for this week. Chalobah red carded. and miss out this week. And then EKTK with Isaac coming in. So I guess that's the reason why people are moving him out. So what's the most important things from this transfer traffic?
For me, the most important thing is people are transferring out Joao Pedro. So we know he has a good match after the internationals, and we know he's not going for internationals, so he'll be back home. So making himself fit as well. So that's and I know we're playing against Liverpool, but we're not exactly solid right now. And even though Chelsea's attack looks very problematic, Liverpool's defense isn't helping either. Having said that, I did consider selling Pedro, and I still am. I still have it in my head, and we can talk about it later. But there's not enough circumstances for people to sell. To be fair, he hasn't. The last couple of matches he sucked, but he's still playing with Chelsea. And if you remember, he can get goals from set plays, from crossing or set pieces. Headed goals, which he didn't seem to do much in Brighton, but he's already done with Chelsea. And that route is the route that would most likely lead to him scoring a goal. Maybe not so much open play. I'm just at the end of the day, I just feel that I'm saying it's the wrong thing to transfer him out, but at the same time, I myself am thinking, should we do that to replace him with some other player?
Yeah, I agree. I think because that could play into the mind, because he has blank maybe 2 matches so far, and then playing Liverpool this week. That could be part of why people are doing that. Or if you're wildcarding this week, probably you're shipping Pedro out and getting the likes of cheaper players like who, I don't know, Mateta, Strand-Larsen, those kind of players. Thiago, yeah. So that could play into this week. Right?
You know who's about the same price as Pedro right now? Jared Bowen.
Oh yes.
We know that he's under and he could be what Chris Wood was to Nuno's Forest. He could be.
Let me share you right now. If Pedro blank this week and Bowen scored against Arsenal, you know what will happen in Game Week 8, where people are going to scramble getting Bowen into their team. All right, top transfer in, I just mentioned, I think this is the one that people should target, because from these 5 players, I have 4 of them on my wildcard. So you can imagine why people are getting those players. All right, quick one on suspension. I think Azmin did mention, but I just want to highlight KDH will be suspended this week after picking 5th yellow card. He's the first one to do that. Charles Chabela suspended also this week. Red-carded. Thomas Suchet will serve his final ban, and Ronaldo will serve his second match ban for this week. Returning player, Hugo Ekitike, who was red-carded to yellow card, right, and miss out Crystal Palace. He will return this week. And also Casemiro, suspension tightrope. 4 players on yellow card right now. Only one, which is Lukic, but he's not the one that people are having in their team. So you should not worry. But after that, 3 yellow cards. From there, that list maybe Calafiori, if let's say people are having. So just watch out. Who else inside there that people? Maybe Nico Williams. So if you're still not wildcarded, he could be in your team. So other than that, I don't think that much player. Hillman, if you're thinking to get in, but there's better player, right?
Yeah.
All right. Nothing much to say in terms of suspension. What else after this? Let's take a look a bit on market odds, man. Then we can comment if you're thinking to get in any of those players. Projected goals and clean sheet odds for this week. Visual from robtFPL and stats from Solio Analytics. I just want to mention the most predicted to score big this week will be Arsenal against West Ham. 2.56 projected goals. And then after that, Manchester United against Sunderland, 2.08. And then City at 2.0 away to Brentford. In terms of clean sheet, Arsenal again are expected to keep clean sheet against West Ham, 51%. Then after that, Aston Villa at second place against Burnley, 42%. Then after that, would you be surprised, is Manchester United against Sunderland, 39%. You might not agree, man, but these are the odds markets that people are looking at. Any other point that I just want to mention here? 36% odds. Newcastle are keeping clean sheet against Forest and scored 1.84 against Forest. I think maybe that's fair. Yep, these are the prediction for this week. Arsenal all in.
Yeah, I do feel that the odds for the Arsenal game does not really take into account the new manager coming in, coming in, because I do feel he will be able to quickly improve the defense. Maybe they'll still lose, but it won't be by a big margin. It won't be like that 2.56 odds that we're saying. And at the same time, I do think West Ham can score, which is probably why I've been trying to figure out whether it's worth selling petrol for Bowen. Yeah, because obviously with West Ham, they more urgently need to leave the relegation zone. I think the second last relegation zone. It won't take much to get off the relegation zone. It's just that the longer they wait, the harder it becomes. So I don't agree with that. The Arsenal one, I don't think is as overwhelming as it should be, as it looks like. In fact, I'd argue the odds that should be more overwhelming is Angie Coglu's team, NFO. I feel that Newcastle odds to score should be more than 2. Yeah, and the CS should be 51%, not Arsenal, because I thought Angie's gonna last long.
Okay. Chelsea Liverpool has slightly edged there, 1.7, but it will be a tight one, like you mentioned. What else? Bournemouth has the upper hand against Fulham, 1.63 clean sheet odds, 35%. Leeds and Spurs, like we mentioned, it will be a tight one.
Almost even. Interesting.
Yep. Same goes for Everton Crystal Palace. Also, that game might end up be a draw, which I believe that could be a turn up if, let's say, Everton keep it tight.
Yeah, it's all about
right.
Okay.
All right. Okay, that's the prediction, and let's go to our team. My team first, as you can see, I already activated 2 chips so far, bench boost and wildcard, and I already wildcarded last week. 2 free transfer I'll bring in this week, 0.4 million in the bank, and most likely I will roll my transfer. So my team will be Petrovic in goal, Van der Ven, Gabriel, and Senesi over Richards and Anderson. We can debate on that later. Bruno Fernandes, Kudus, Semenyo, Grealish, and Reinder against Brentford. Haaland as my captain, and Gyökeres up front. And would you be surprised on my bench? Dubravka and João Pedro. I'll bench him against Liverpool. We can also talk about that. And then Richards and Anderson on my bench. I think my defense, I'm debating is whether to play Richards or Van der Ven. I think Van der Ven, and there may be their potential goal from him. I believe he scored in midweek. If I'm right. So Van der Ven have a hack in terms of getting a goal, random goal, any game. So I just want to play him, but I won't deny that Richards or Anderson could easily get the DC points and then keep a clean sheet against those opponents. João Pedro, you see there, I'm not sure who I'm going to bench because I trust those players more than João Pedro right now. So, man, what do you think?
Well, bench play Pedro for Grealish. It's just that we just saw the Everton versus Crystal Palace is really tight. Could be a really tight game. Yeah, so that's my recommendation. But the thing is, okay, I've had this struggle with Anderson and VDV and Diouf. Okay, okay, we can talk about my team later. So, but the thing with Anderson is that because Van der Ven doesn't do DC much.
Yeah, you're right.
So compared to Anderson, who's very quite consistent and picking it up. So I dare say that if you wanted to make a substitution, change from your bench, it would be to play Anderson and bench Van der Ven. And of course, the other side is play Pedro and.
Because I think talking about a prediction score, Bournemouth versus Fulham, I do feel Bournemouth gonna score, and then potentially they could keep a clean sheet with Jimenez-less up front.
Yep. Yeah. So Senesi there is looking really decent right now. I guess you also don't want to have your defender playing against Semenyo, who's the hottest player at the moment. But I do feel that he is capable of kicking out. And because I also think that Van der Ven will score up, Leeds will still score. I think Anderson should. That's why I think Anderson should move to the bench move up to the starting 11. Okay. But Pedro, as you benching him, but other people are selling him. I just at first I thought, makes sense. But then more I look at it, I'm sure Maresca says this, but he says this. He has a pattern of saying, giving doubts only for him to turn up. But it's maybe, but for others, especially those who wildcarded, it's a form issue. I think Pedro's not going to be able to have that same form without Cole Palmer. So, yeah, that's the thing. And now the problem with Chelsea is that they might have to focus more on defense because of the holes they have due to people being injured.
Yeah. So I'll think about that. We still have half an hour more before the deadline.
Think about it. Yeah, half an hour, really. Half an hour.
Yep, 1:30. It will be the deadline. Okay, let's go to your team, mate. You also worked there last week. I believe you have one free transfer if you want to do any transfer this week.
Right, so I didn't have to worry. I have Donnarumma in goal. I just keep him, even though Brentford is going to score anyway. It's just who scores. Yeah. Brentford at home. Thiago's going to score again. Just making a mockery of all these fixtures, I swear to God. Okay, so I've got Van der Ven, Timber, and Doof. So, okay, for me, Doof is a lock. I know he's playing Arsenal, but so what? I think Arsenal will concede.
You did mention about potential Anderson points. Don't you want to consider him?
Sorry, who?
Anderson, right?
Yeah. So, what? In fact, if I were to, because again, let's say Spurs versus Leeds and Anderson versus Bournemouth, I expect both teams to concede, and that is why I have. So, I just want Anderson's DEFCON now between the two, which is how I'm moving up, and I don't want to bench Diouf. I just feel that Diouf,
all right.
He's returned in 4 out of 6 games so far. Yeah, he's got 4 assists, which I feel is good enough to sustain that. So, okay, midfield, Rangers, Enzo, Semenyo, and Bremo. I think this.
I think they picked themselves
out there, yeah. And finally, also KDH suspended for 1 game. Joao Pedro, Isaac, and Haaland picks. So I'm going against the grain here. One with Pedro. Okay, Diouf, sure, but it's not commenting. But a lot of people who are selling Pedro, I'm continuing to play him. Right. And but the biggest differential is of course Isaac. So I got lucky in the sense that Ekitike, first suspended, so Ekitike Isaac can start, and then Ekitike gets injured midweek as well. So which means that Isaac's spot is more or less confirmed. So the question is he going to perform? And Chelsea missing centre backs make it a prime time for Chelsea for Liverpool, and Liverpool need to bounce back. That's the other thing. Liverpool need to bounce back. There's 2 games in a row, Premier League and Champions League. Can they afford to lose a third and make really start having questions? People question either Slot, Words, or even Isaac in terms of what they are doing right now. So I think Isaac will be desperate to score. Of course, we ran through this last week in a similar sense where I said that, Isaac now has a chance to, because of the Kali Cup debacle of the red card, Isaac now has this chance to cement his spot last week. This is what I said last week before picking on my wild card. Nothing happened of note. He blanked. As a result, I'm not so confident this week, even though I feel the circumstances I met that Isaac will continue to week. And I thought that the last week Isaac would rise to the occasion now that he's accidentally managed to start over at KTK. I'm sure he'll do what he needs to do to secure his spot in the squad, which didn't happen. So that's the problem. So
I feel your team is you already picked. I think this is still a good team. With Enzo on form right now, Reinder, Semenyo, Mbomo, you just try your luck this week against Sunderland. I do feel if you do not have any other players, you will play João Pedro, which is still fine. I said against Chelsea, still fine. Haaland will be your captain this week, right? So, the only thing is to decide which defense you're going to play, and you decided Anderson over Van der Ven, which is still fine. So I think your team is set for this week, and then we roll our transfer after the international break. We rethink what we should do with our team. With all the latest news after international break, there are plenty of things that we need to decide. Okay. All right, Min. Okay.
I mean, I keep why people are selling Pedro or benching, but at the same time, in my head, I'm still thinking, should I do Pedro to Bowen?
I think if you want to, next week kita fikir lah, right? This week, just leave them alone. Okay. All right. Okay. Before we wrap up, just want to share the current FPL Jedi League. If you're interested to join our community, do key in the league code zwxrhj. And this week, number 1, after Gameweek 6 is GW7 from Sultan Germo, which a Forest fan. He's got 78 points, and you can see his team there. Of course, Captain Haaland, no triple captain, but who else performed in his team? He has excellent defense. Senesi with 7, Girl with 7, and Gabriel with 13 points. The rest, I can say blank except Semenyo in attacking lineup. He has Ikitiki as his forward. Triple up in Liverpool, Konate, and Rodon, who, I do any of your defense pissed out. So, okay, I think his team excellent, but missing some players, the normal template players.
Yeah. Now, just Ekitike as a question mark.
Yeah. If you are him, with Ekitike, what would you do? He's definitely someone that you will transfer out, right?
I don't know. I really don't know. But of course, if the injury is legit, then then probably transfer him out.
Yeah, fair. Would like to also shout out to the top 10, right? To Liverpool, who continue to perform. I think he has been at first place before that. FPL Joe champion Helmi Johari also one of our league champion in the FPL Jedi League. Skynet 4th place. Goodbye Sony FC dropped to 5th. Rest are moving up the ladder. Ryan FC 6th place. SM Team 7. S11 Yara Spartans at 8. FPL Futi Merah at 9th place. And the Cops from Abu Anas team is on the 10th place. So I think that's all from us, Min. Your last word before we wrap up.
Well, I doubt we're going to get any late team news. And it's a match that, we already have our Semenyos and Andersons. Most of us already have those two. We're not likely to pick other players at the moment. So finalize it and just chill and enjoy the match.
Right. Thank you everyone for watching and continue to support us by give me a hit the like button and subscribe to our FPL Jedi YouTube channel, and just click on that bell notification bell, and you will receive whenever we are live. Until then, this will be our last stream before the international break. Enjoy the international break. Good luck for you guys this week. And until then, we see you again. Thank you and stay. Bye bye.
Bye.